CMDB and what good looks like for the CMDB. Historically, it's always been said if you can't see it, you can't manage it. However, in reality nowadays, it's if you can't observe it, you can't manage it. The difference between seeing and observing a configuration item is not just how the configuration item's there within the CMDB, it's how does it interact with all other elements within the CMDB. In reality, the CMDB starts off with a simple CI. We need to be able to bring the CI in and enrich the CMDB. But however, we need outcomes from the CMDB. And when we look at this now, the simple outcome of a CMDB is to be application aware. So all your CI is application aware, and again, these applications need a relationship to a business service that you offer. CIs are discoverable, whether they're physical or virtual. We can bring those into the CMDB through discovery, through different mechanisms, through different methodologies to bring those CIs into the CMDB. But there's something that we can actually discover, whether physical or virtual. Application services, however, are more configurable. We can defer what an application service looks like from the CIs discovered underneath, and I'm going to show you this in a moment. But in reality, business applications and application services are a configurable item. The CI also has a life cycle. Now it matures from an asset into a CI, and it has a health availability. In reality, your CIs need to be living objects within your CMDB. Application services can now have a state. Are they operational? Are they running? Are they available? With relationships to the CI that I'm going to show you in a moment, you'll see how an application service is born. A business application, though, or application portfolio manager, then looks after whole bunches of application services. So let's see how we do this on the platform. So let's start our journey looking at the CI itself. So here all I've done is discovered a Windows Server as a configuration item. However, Windows Server is not a single configuration item. It's made up of multiple components and multiple relationships. And I'm going to show this as I walk through. But here you can see we've pulled it from the asset, which I would call the child. When it comes from the asset, it's an asset that sits in somebody's asset database. The moment it comes into the CMDB, through the asset management, it becomes a living, breathing configuration item. Here you can see through discovery, and we're using ServiceNow Discovery in this example, but we could be using any third-party discovery tool to bring through the data that we need to populate the CMDB. Through discovery, we can see that it has a life cycle being installed, and it also has a last discovered date. We're bringing in the components such as the host name, manufacturing model, serial numbers, model, and so on, IP address, and we'll come through it more. But now we can start to add more data, such as who owns the CI itself. We can also start to look at risk and vulnerability, and software management, and so on and so on. But we're bringing through what I would call the metadata for that CI into the CMDB. What we do with that metadata then is we enrich the metadata with more deep IP data, such as the network adapter, storage volumes, storage devices that's located on their file systems. And this is all important to remember for the next step. Running processes. Running processes is critical because here's where we find the applications that are running on the CI itself. Stuff like memory modules, TCP conversations, who's talking to that TCP conversation, and more importantly, configuration files as well. Again, each configuration file will be tracked as its own CI in the CMDB. We're also bringing through software variables as well. So we're bringing through software that's installed on the CMD, on that CI itself. This is the most important thing here. Now, we then build a relationship with that CI. And when we click on here and we look at the relationship, what we can see from here is we build out what we call the dynamic application dependency maps. These are really infrastructure dependency maps, the way that I look at them. And again, here's the server the CI that we started with. But from that simple CI, you can start to see that we have a relationship on multiple other components, including the hypervisor that it sits on, the network that it sits on, and some storage that's running on it. And again, if you hover over these, you can see refers to. And again, here we see an Oracle database that's running on that server. So we build that relationship up. This Oracle database has 4 configuration files that we're tracking within the system. Also, we can see that these 3 Glassfish servers here are talking to this Oracle application on a specific port. So these have a dependency on that. And we build these dynamically out. Okay, and this is the importance of the CI now. We're not just looking at this single CI in its entirety. We're observing how this CI impacts its surrounding society. Then once we've got that sort of view, we can then start to look at it in more details. So you can start to see all the alerts that's associated with the CI itself and the dependency on it. So if I click on this server here, I can see I have 4 alerts. Some are critical, some are not so critical, but those will have a dependency on the Oracle as well. So Oracle, you can see, only has 1 alert. So now we start to build out more of a relationship within this. Are we going to raise 5 alerts, or are we just going to raise you 1 incident that enables us to action on those alerts? So this is the infrastructure dependency map that's crucial to be able to build a service. This is not a service map. This is an infrastructure dependency map. This is where the referral groups will come in and start to diagnose their problem. Who's at risk, who's at owned. What you can do is you can go into the related services. And you can see here now this map in its entirety has 2 related services. It has the Windows service that's related to it. And again, just this component here is related in the Windows service. Or it has the exchange rate calculator services where all these components take up that. I can launch this exchange rate calculated service, and that's going to take me into what we call the service map. Now this is the service map. Now most application services or business services are made up from multiple application services. So again, here we have an Oracle instance that's running for this application for the exchange rate calculator, and this is the cart service. So the cart service, the exchange rate service has a dependency on the cart service. This is the cart service, and we're monitoring the health of this service. This thing gives us the blast radius of the application. So do I want to be making a change on this Redis database the same time I'm doing an Oracle change, or even a change on one of these Glassfish servers down here? Even though they're not linked at all in the CMDB, they are linked through the application service. Knowing now, if I'm going to do a change on this Glassfish server at 6 o'clock at night, the risk of me doing a change on this Redis server at the same time goes up. And again, we can do this through a dynamic CMDB. We do that linking it back to these dependency views. So these dependency views have a relationship on the application itself. Once we've got the application views, we can then add health on top of those. And again, we'll get that health metrics from the infrastructure dependency down here. Those health metrics then give you the ability to identify where your root cause is. So now we're not looking at the Apache service or even the Redis service. We know clearly we have a problem with Oracle. Now, once you have all this service aware in your CMDB, dynamically discovered through multiple sources, you can do really intelligent things like compare. Show me the difference that my service looked like this time last week. And what it's going to do, it's going to give you all the changes of your service. It knows that because we're doing either a dynamic discovery of the infrastructure, going back to what I said, the dependency infrastructure down here, we're doing dynamically discovering that infrastructure, or B, this is a scheduled change. So now we can actually look at this component here, which is Oracle, and see which infrastructure component was actually changed. And again, here we can see it was this configuration file, which is in a CI in its entirety, was changed. How do we link that CI to that Oracle database? It was because of the application dependency here we have on this Oracle server. So now you can see, having a CMDB fully populated, fully life-cycled, you can see the power of the CMDB. Hope this has helped, and if you need any further information, please contact me.